I was just talking to Jen there for a sec. How's everybody doing? I think I'm ready to start this lesson. Jen was just asking if everything was good. Sometimes she helps me get ready to do these live streams. She quickly went outside and cleaned the window so that things would look good for all of you. Again, I'm not outside. As you can see, it's a little overcast. So I was a little leery about going outside. In English, when you're leery, it means you're a little bit worried or you're a little bit concerned. My concern, of course, was that it might rain. I don't think it's going to, but you never know. So I didn't want to, well, basically Jen would have to carry all my gear outside because I still can't lift things. And then if it started to rain, Jen would have to help me quickly put everything back in the house, and we'd have to end the live stream, and that wouldn't be very good, would it? There we go. I just wanted to make sure things were working right. Well, hello. How is everybody? Welcome to Freddie Wolf, Ismail, Abu Daliziz, William, Lord Nanik. Ario is here. Good to see you, Ario. Fatima, Hitu. Hi, Bob. Checking in from an undisclosed location in downtown Mogadishu where I serve the Lord preaching the gospel. Thanks for having me. Well, you're glad to have you here as well. I hope you can learn some English. Judith saying hi to all the regulars, and hi also to Judith. Freddie says here in France, it's bright and sunny. Here it's unpredictable today. That's what I would say. There's Walter zooming by. It's an unpredictable day. I'm not sure what's going to happen out there. Jen is simply unbeatable, and today she is your sidekick, Bob. Yes. So yesterday I talked about the word sidekick, and someone mentioned that in Jen's videos on her YouTube channel called My Flower Farm, I'm her sidekick. But today, yes, you're right. You could also say that Oscar and Walter are Jen's sidekicks, like they really enjoy hanging out with Jen. In the chat, by the way, I will get to the questions in a moment. I do like to honor member questions in the chat. Hafiez says, hey, Bob, is that new black shirt in that thumbnail? That is my school uniform shirt. Okay, so that is what we wear at my school whenever there is a special event. And yesterday we were asked to wear that shirt. So I wore that black shirt. I really like it. It's an Under Armour shirt. It's made by Under Armour. Maybe I should get more of them. Okay, let me explain what's happening. This is a live English Q&A lesson if you're watching it at 10:03 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello, Duke and Dia and Judith and Alfan, and know that in the chat as well. Let me back up. I think there was a question from Mode earlier from just before we started. Let me see here. Are you planning on going to TIFF? So the Toronto International Film Festival is right now. They did not invite Bob the Canadian, but that's not the kind of films they show. And I'm not going as an attendee either. I'm not going. I've never been. I should maybe think about going sometime. Anyways, what is this? This is a Q&A lesson. That means English lesson. That means if you have a question, there is a link in the description below and pinned in the comments wherever they are on your screen. You can use that link to ask a question. Please don't ask questions in the chat. If you're a member, I probably will answer your question if I see it. But if people ask questions in the chat, it gets too busy. Please use the chat to have fun English conversations with each other. Freddie, Bob, where are the balloons on the trees in order to see if it's windy outside? Yeah, it is. Oh, wrong button. It's a little bit windy. I know last time we had trouble telling if the camera was frozen or if it was just so still outside you couldn't see it. Know that. If I remember correctly, you've worn that shirt before, Bob, at least under your sweater. Yeah, I've had it for a year and a bit. I have a black one. I think I might ask also for a gray one. There's a charcoal gray one. I think that would be a nice one to have as well. Burgisi, I hope your camera's waterproof. It is. It is definitely waterproof. Okay, let's get to the lesson. Okay. The lesson, or the questions, I should say. From Know That. Hello, Bob. Is the phrase to bang on about something commonly used? Or is it more common to use the go on about something or to keep talking about something? Thanks in advance. To bang on sounds kind of British to me. In my part of the world, we would probably say he just went on and on. Like we would use your second phrase to go on, but we would say it almost twice. Like, oh, she went on and on about her trip. Or he went to the concert and then the next day he just went on and on about it. It means to talk about something for a very long time. So that's what we would use. We would use on and on. And you can tell with the repetition how that emphasizes the meaning of the phrase. Okay, let me see here. Next question from Mode. Let me get a sip of water here as well. My throat's making a little bit of a gravelly sound. From Mode. Hi, fully mobile Bob. Yeah, I can do this. I can hold the camera up to take a selfie. Very nice. Strength is the next thing. I think Know That asked earlier about that, or mentioned how cool it was that I could hold up the camera. And I said that strength is the next thing. This is strength. This one's a doozy, so I apologize in advance. What's the difference between well-being, wellness, and welfare? Love the polo in the thumbnail. Yeah, should I get more polo shirts? I just bought all my shirts for this year, though. So well-being is simply when you're concerned for someone's well-being. It means you want to make sure they're safe, they have food, they have housing. We have poor people in our cities, and we are concerned for their well-being. We want to make sure they have food and shelter, and that as a country, we take care of them. Wellness is just a general term for your health. I'm in a good state. I'm trying to think here. We don't use the word wellness a lot. Because I was going to say like he has a good state of wellness, but that sounds really, really formal. I think I'll say that wellness refers to being well, like being healthy, but not used a lot. And then welfare is very similar to well-being. If you're concerned for someone's welfare, it's a little bit more about their safety. Maybe I'm trying to think of a situation where you would be concerned for someone's welfare. I think you understand what I mean, though. If you're in a situation where there's maybe danger or something like that, you would be concerned for someone's welfare. That would be how I would describe it. Let's see. Takagero. Hello. Let me see. Is everything still moving outside? Yes, moving slightly. Hello, dear teacher Bob. Hope next stream will be outside. I hope so too. I have done an outdoor stream at the beginning of October. Let's see if I can do it. Hopefully I can lift things by then. What do you need the second chair behind you for? Oh, so that's kind of a funny story. There used to be a couch here. Remember, there was a gray couch, and this is actually a lawn chair. And that's just, I don't know if you can see it. It's like a standard IKEA chair with the footrest. So the couch that was here didn't belong to us. It belonged to my son, but he lived in a small apartment and they didn't have a spot for it. So we just used it. But they found a place for it, so he wanted it back. So in the meantime, it's a good time to teach the word in the meantime. In the meantime, we're using a lawn chair and we're using this chair. And Jen and I need to go out and buy a couch. In particular, we need to buy what I call a love seat. A love seat is a couch that fits two people. I'm not sure if that's a Canadian term. A couch usually has spots for 3 or 4 people, and a love seat, as the name implies, has room for just 2 people. So for now, we're living like college students. We have just one chair sitting back there. Hey, let me just do a check here of the audio to make sure everything seems to be working great. Where are we? Questions. Let me get to the next one. Judith from Hungary. Hi, Bob. Is Hamilton the closest city from you? Thank you. So I would probably ask it this way. Is Hamilton the closest city to you? I know from works as well, but it implies I'm in a different location. Does that make sense? Anyways, let's use 2. Hamilton, the closest city to you. Yes, the closest large city. I do live close to Niagara Falls. I also live close to a city called St. Catharines, and I live relatively close to Toronto. If there's no traffic, I can get to Toronto in 1 hour. That never happens. Usually it's about 40 minutes. Okay, maybe an hour's a little off. It's probably about an hour and 15 minutes to get to Toronto if there's no traffic. So, yes, the closest big city to me would be Hamilton, Ontario. It's a pretty nice city, actually. In fact, I'm going there later today because I need to go to Costco, and Costco is located in Hamilton. From Viraj, how to find the adjective of any word. So an adjective describes a noun, like I'm an old person. So old is the adjective. I'm not a tall person, but I'm not a short person. So another couple adjectives, tall and short. So what you want to look for is there a person, place, or thing? And then is there a word describing it, right? Like the... I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of another adjective, but basically that's what you need to think of. So, big, tall, short, colors, right? The green tree, and those kinds of things. So look for the word that's describing the person, place, or thing. That would be what will help you. Natalia, hi Bob. If I interviewed and then got offered a job, can I say I won the interview? No. What can I say about an interview if I don't get an offer after that? So if you're in a job interview and then they call you to tell you they're going to hire you, you would say, I got the job. Or you would say, if you're talking in the future, like, I hope I get the job. So we use the verb to get. We don't actually talk about the interview. We just basically say, I got the job or I didn't get the job. Those would be the two responses. You could say this. You could say the interview went well, or I think the interview went well. That would be how you would describe the interview. But if you actually were offered a job, you would use that phrase. You would say, I got the job. I'm so happy I got the job. And that would be awesome. I think it's getting a little bit sunny outside. Maybe I read the weather forecast wrong. Just a tiny, tiny bit of sun out there. And I think it's already going away. Excuse me. Freddie says to Judith, fortunately, the weather will be nice over the weekend, but the forecast for the next whole week is rain and rain. Yeah, that's not fun. Freddie Wolf, Bob isn't old. He's wise. Thank you. No, that says, I'm sure that you can have a good nap in this armchair, Bob. Probably. It's a little uncomfortable, though. I think I'm used to the couch that we had. So maybe we'll have to buy the same couch. From Tina, here we go. Hello, Bob. The nouns travel, journey, trip. If a person goes to visit their friend by train and then on foot, should I say that it is a travel, journey, or trip? If the person is far away, you would probably use trip. What are you doing tomorrow? Oh, I'm just going on a short trip to visit my friend in Hamilton. But if the person lives close by, you probably wouldn't use any of those. You would probably just say, oh, I'm just going to take the train to visit my friend Joe. Trip and travel, they somewhat mean that you're going on a holiday, which might not be the case if you're just going to visit your friend. So I would just use to visit. So again, tomorrow I'm going to visit my friend in Toronto. You could say tomorrow I'm going to take a trip to Toronto to visit my friend, but that does imply that it's somewhat far away. If your friend just lives 10 minutes away by car, you would probably just say, I'm going to go visit my friend. Journey is rarely used in English. Like journey is used like in a book. Like if you're reading a book and the person takes a journey across the ocean, like it has more of a formal sound to it. We don't use it really in everyday English very much. From Steve, my cousin, good to see you're doing good. My kids love your channel. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that they are learning English. I'm sure I'm not the most entertaining English teacher for kids who are wanting to learn English, but thanks, Steve, for watching, and thanks for introducing your kids to my lesson. I see some questions popping up in the chat. Please do use the link. Maybe I'll just pop that link into the chat for a sec. Did Nightbot show up? I think it did. What do I type? Link? I think it's link. We should have a link pop up from Nightbot in a sec. So please do use that. Yes, there we go. From Shahul, I hear people say, if I would have known, I would have done something while speaking. Is this correct, Teacher Bob? Yes. If I would have known that it was going to be sunny, I would have done the live stream outside. So you have two conditional phrases there, making a compound sentence. So I would have bought the car. If I would have known the car would be amazing, I would have bought the car. So it's tricky, isn't it? Let me get my camera back here. Because you're basically doing two things. If I would have known that eating ice cream every night would have caused me to gain weight, I would not have eaten ice cream every night. So a few example sentences there for you. The yellow thing is a hose, and we connect that hose from the house to the barn to fill Jen's water tank. Jen has a water tank above her flower area in the barn. So when she needs to fill vases and jars to put flowers in, or pails, she has a source of water in the barn. We have a tank there because the barn freezes in the winter. So we don't have water connected to the barn permanently, like with taps and a sink. But that is how we do that. If you're wondering what the yellow is. From Judith, hi Bob, how many synonyms do you know for strength? Thank you. So strength refers to being strong. So how many are there for strength? And not, I'm trying to think, like strength is the most common. Like you work out to build strength. You will work out to build muscle. You work out to be strong. I don't think there's any word. I mean, there are probably some, but in common English speech, I don't know if there's any word that we use to replace strength other than, I flipped to the word strong, right? Like I want to be strong. Now I'm flexible and I have mobility. I can move my arms. Now I need to lift weights to build muscle because I need to rebuild my strength. I need to become strong. That is what I would say that's how I would answer that. From Muaz, Bob's fan. Hey, Bob. I've heard Canadians say the O sounds different than Americans. Could you elaborate a little on this, please? Thank you. So there are a few words that if I speak in my normal Canadian accent sound a little bit different. One would be if I say about. So it has kind of a round sound to it, about. When I say things like boat, it has more of a lower sound. Out maybe sounds a little different. The Canadian O, you don't always hear it. I think our accent is becoming more neutral, but certainly when I lived in Michigan when I was younger, I was there for a few years for university. People could tell I was Canadian by the way I said out and about. Those were the two words. And sometimes boot, like maybe it's almost more of a U sound when I say it. It's hard for an English speaker to describe your own accent, by the way. It's very, very tricky. From Mode, I think Shahul's sentence is not grammatical, but native speakers tend to mix up conditionals sometimes. The proper way would be, if I had known, I would have. Yes, definitely. We do use, if I had known, if I would have known. We use those interchangeably. And not only is if I had known more efficient, it probably is more correct. If I had known, I would have explained that earlier. Thanks, Mode. I'm using the example to talk about the example there. If I had known, if I would have known. I wonder if the contraction would have replaced had in that. Like maybe we got lazy and we decided to say, if I had known, and then instead we decided to say, if I would have known. If I would have known, I would have explained it that way. Hafiez says, Winnie the Pooh says, people say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day. know that. Oh, I just noticed that you've gotten back to your old light, reading light, Bob. Or did someone else in your family take the other light? Yes, I regained that light because I had lent it to one of my kids, and that kid went back to university. So that's where, in the background, that light, you can see it there. Tolek. Hello, Bob. Right now, I'm reading some books by the author Roald Dahl. I might have said that wrong. What's your opinion about this author? And could you recommend more books for B2 level? So let me get this up on the screen. Oh, James and the Giant Peach. Yes, very cool. I haven't read any of those books for a while, but pretty cool author. What would I recommend for a B2 level? At the B2 level, you should look at the New York Times bestseller list. You should be reading the same books that I would read. Okay. At the A2, B1 level, maybe you'll read some children's books or books written for teenagers or young adults. But if you're at the B2 level or working from B1 to B2, you should be reading whatever's on the New York Times bestseller list. Look for all of the fiction, like the books that aren't true, and nonfiction books, and pick one and read it. You might have to push yourself a little bit because it might be somewhat challenging, but that's, in my opinion, what you should be reading. You should be reading books like that, like the same books that English speakers would be reading. Let's see here. From Kuso. Excuse me, Teacher Bob. I wonder every time I learn a similar word or phrase, I might rely on a new one and forget the other. What can I do? So one of the annoying things about English is that we have multiple words sometimes for the same thing. Like a good example would be drizzle and spit. So if it's drizzling outside or spitting outside, it's kind of the same thing. It's not pouring rain, and it's definitely raining. It's just very light, okay? Now, if you learn the phrase, it's spitting outside, and then you learn the phrase, it's drizzling, if you do forget one, it doesn't really matter, because here's what will happen. When you talk, you'll use the one you know, and people will understand you. If someone else uses the phrase that you've kind of forgotten, you will most likely remember what it means, okay? Just because you've forgotten it and aren't able to use it doesn't mean you won't recognize it when you hear it. So I would say don't stress too much, okay, about that. I think you will be fine. So from Vitali, hi Bob, what's your biggest motivation to teach people? Money, question mark. If it was money, I wouldn't be doing this anymore. So let me explain what I mean by that. YouTube is very generous, and I do make money from putting English lessons online. I also have members who are very generous and pay a small amount every month to be a member of my channel. The amount of money I make from YouTube, and if I do a sponsorship video and from my members, is equal to the amount of time that I don't work at my school. I'm not sure if you're understanding this. If I wanted to, the best thing for me to do would be to teach full time and not do YouTube. Let's put it that way. But by teaching less and doing YouTube, I make about the same as I would if I taught full time. So money is nice. I do view this as a job. And when you do a job, you like to get paid for your job. But this isn't the same as, like, I'm not Mr. Beast who's making millions of dollars. I'm a teacher who is making a normal teacher salary at my school. And I've reduced the amount of time I work and reduced the amount of money I make so that I can do YouTube and make about the amount of money that I don't make. I hope this is making sense. I basically, if I quit YouTube and was just a teacher, my yearly income would be the same as it is now. That's how I would explain it. So does money motivate me? It's number 7 on the list. I think the first thing that motivates me is I just enjoy doing this. It's fun thinking of ideas and then making a lesson about it. So Judith says, if money had motivated Bob, he would be teaching only in the classroom and have private students. Probably. I mean, I don't know. It's really nice teaching part-time and doing YouTube part-time. I'm very thankful that because of YouTube and because of members and because of sponsorships, I can do both. And I have a nice job right now as I go through the week. So there's the long-winded answer. From Nangisi, I watch lots of TV series, but I cannot create native sentences and being stuck with the basic sentences. What would you recommend to me? So first of all, keep watching TV. I think it's a great source of current phrases if you're watching current TV. The second thing would be, I'm not sure if you have an English speaking partner, but if you watch a TV show and you don't have anyone to talk to about that TV show after you watch it in English, the words and phrases you're hearing, you might forget quickly because you're not using them right away. So in a perfect world, you would watch some TV in English. You would read the news or a book in English. You would listen to an English song. You would do some writing in English. And then you would meet with a tutor. And you would talk about the TV show. And you would talk about the news. And you would talk about the book you're reading. And you would ask them to help you with your writing to make some corrections. And all of that makes for a good way to learn things. So that would be my recommendation. Find an English tutor. Even 30 minutes a week, I think would be wonderful for you. Hi, Bob. How do you correctly use the word right and all right? Can you also suggest any examples? Well, let's say you're moving out of the house. Maybe you're 20 years old and you live with your parents. I think you're going to be all right if you move out. Okay. So let me get the official definition so I don't make any mistakes. Difference between all right and all right. Yeah, it just says all right as one word is a common informal variant. When I say all right, in my mind, I don't even know which of the two I'm using. So all space right, it says is the standard more formal spelling, meaning all correct or satisfactory. All right as one word is less formal single word, usually meaning that everything is okay or fine. So in my example, if you move out, you're going to be all right. It means you're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. Life's going to be fine. If you took a test and got 10 out of 10, I would say you got the answers all space right. So, but also I wouldn't worry about it too much unless you're doing a lot of writing. That's where you really need to know the difference because it sounds the same, right? So you can get away with it. One more question and we'll do members only. Unsol. Hello, Mr. Bob. What's something new you recently learned that excited you? I learned how to make an app and then the app broke this week. And then I spent a lot of time last night fixing the app. So I made an app. It's at vocab.bobthecanadian.com. I say I made the app, but I actually used AI programming tools and my own knowledge of programming combined in order to make a vocabulary app. So again, it's at vocab.bobthecanadian.com. I apologize if any of you tried to use it yesterday or the day before, but it is fixed now. You can log in and use it again. There are some free levels for non-members, and if you're a member, if you enter the code, you can play the higher levels. And I will be adding a new set to it starting next week. I have my one of my kids is making lesson plan sets for my website and also levels for the app. So look for that. But that's what excited me. And so I learned something new. I've also played around with Google Gemini has something called Nano Banana for generating images. And I might use that a bit in my computer class as well. He lost his left hand. He's going to be all right. That is what's considered dark humor in English. You're joking about something that in reality would be tragic, but because we're human, sometimes we make light of those situations. Let me see here. Oh, I said we're going to do members, but let me do Abdullah first. Hi, Bob. I'm from Ethiopia. Tell me the best way to learn English, please. So in my opinion, Okay. And it doesn't mean I'm right, but in my opinion, the best way to learn English is to make sure you're doing enough reading, listening, writing, and speaking. And you're also learning some new vocabulary, maybe separate from those things. And you're also buying a book in your own language that explains English grammar. Those to me would be the foundation. And then the next level up is get a speaking partner. So if you were to design your week, I would say Monday through Friday, just make sure you're doing one of those things every day. Okay. And maybe two of them, or mix and match. But certainly don't just, there is a theory that if you read a lot and listen to a lot of English, you'll eventually start speaking it. And I don't totally disagree with that. I think getting a lot of comprehensible input is very important, but don't let that prevent you from doing some writing and some speaking, and learning vocabulary just with an app or something like that. Make sure there's a lot of variety, and make sure you're doing all of those areas. Okay, let's go to members only chat. If you don't know what that is, during every live stream, members get a chance to ask questions directly in the chat. Actually, they can do that the whole time. I do look over there once in a while, but I do miss some things. I will continue with questions from the forum, and in about 10 minutes, we'll flip back so everyone can chat again. Yuri, hi Bob. If a shirt is too colored, which one do I say? The shirt is black and white, or the shirt is black? Oh, the first one. The shirt is black and white. The shirt is red and green. Sometimes with a car, we might say it's two-tone instead of the word color. But often we just say, if a shirt has more than two colors, we would say it's multicolored. And if it has two colors, we would probably name them. You know, he's wearing a black and white shirt. You wouldn't say white and black for some reason. Red and green, green and red. Probably you would say red and green. There's probably some subconscious order that I don't even realize. Like the shirt was white and gray. The shirt was gray and white. Yeah, you can say both of those for sure. One more question from the forum, and then I'll get to the chat. So Alpha, and how can we improve our vocabulary and learn from speech? Because here in Indonesia, we rarely can find someone to speak English with. I mean, like learn autodidact through video. You have to find a person. So the fact that you have internet, to me, like the fact that you can watch this lesson, to me means you can probably connect with someone. And learning in our era, I always say, is 90% free. But if you can find the way to pay for that 10%, it will be that much better. What I mean by that is you can find lots of English to read online. You can listen to English songs on YouTube. You can watch English TV shows online. You can do a lot of things for free in 2025, and 90% of your learning will probably be covered. But you might have to find a way to pay for that last 10%. So I would say somehow you have to find the money to pay someone so you can talk to them once a week for 30 minutes. If you really, really, really want to get to the next level, I think it's crucial. And there's ways, I'm sure in Indonesia, there's English learning clubs. I'm sure there's probably somewhere you can go, a night class where you can learn English, something like that. But yeah, you can do a lot on your own, but I think you might be surprised. Like for me, I've mentioned this before, a number of years ago, I stepped back into teaching French. So I hadn't taught French for a number of years. And I just was overjoyed with how many things I could do online to improve my French language skills. But I still had one-on-one conversations for a year and a half. And I also still planned for and took the B1 and B2 French tests because I felt like those two things really pushed me to the next level. Hello, Bungalow from Mode. What's the purpose of that trellis in front of the tree? Is that what it's called, trellis? Let's get to the outdoors. Yes, there was a clematis plant growing on it. It didn't do very well this year. It's been a little dry. I think that's what happened there. Let me get to the next one. Oh, I missed one. Know that. Hey, Bob, could you shed some light on the expression to take a leaf out of someone's book and give some examples of its usage? Thanks a lot, Bob. When you take a leaf out of someone's book, in my part of the world, we would say to take a page from someone's book. It means you like the way they do something and you do it as much the same way as they did. So a great example would be if you start a job in your 20s and you have a mentor, someone older than you, who teaches you how to do things. You might take a page out of their book every once in a while. It means you do something the way they taught you to do it or the way you saw them do it. So, and it's also kind of shows respect a little bit when you take a page out of someone's book. Ismail, Bob, which date variety do you see most in stores there, and which one do you go for the most? Enjoy the view. Just a sec. I went to get the bag of dates. One moment here. So we buy these. I don't know if it'll focus. So this is Terra Delisa pitted dates, product of, where are they from? I should know, shouldn't I? Packed in Canada. They do not grow these in Canada. I can tell you that much. Yeah, that's weird. It's required by law that you say where something was grown. Oh, product of Tunisia and Algeria. So that's what we buy. It looks like this. Pitted dates. We use them to make a variety of things. Usually we turn them into a paste in the blender and use it as a replacement for sugar in some recipes because dates are full of sugar, like natural sugar, but they're still pretty sweet. Not sure if you can see in Canada, you have to have the nutrition facts on there. Lots of fiber. 25% of your daily sugar if you eat five dates. There you go. Okay, enough about dates. Where are we here? Hafiz, we are at the 90% free era, Bob 2025. Yeah, it kind of feels that way, doesn't it? Like there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things that are free on the internet, but I think sometimes it's important to realize that people do need to earn a living as well. Let's see. Freddie Wolf, Bob, since you don't work full-time in your school, does YouTube contribute to your retirement fund like your school does? No. So that you don't lose any money once you're retired. Merci à toi, mon Bob. So no. So when you are self-employed in Canada, you need to plan for your own retirement. So because I work less than a full-time teacher, my pension will be smaller than a full-time teacher. But the money I make from YouTube, I do make sure to put a tiny portion away every year, although sometimes that's hard to do when you have bills to pay. So great question though, Freddie. Tolek, teacher, what are you going to do later today? I have to go pick up a gift for someone. We have to go to a birthday party this week. And then I have to go to Costco because we don't need dates. We have a bag of dates, but we need a few things from Costco later. Mode says, yeah, the order of adjectives is tricky. For example, would you describe wasps as little flying dagger insects? Or if I would do little flying insects. Yeah, I wouldn't say flying little insects. It sounds strange to me. So I would say they're little flying insects. They're little red flying insects. They're red. I would even with the colors, I would say little red. Wasps aren't red. They're little yellow flying insects. That's what I would say. Know That's message got retracted. Not sure why. Maybe you can post that again. Know That. Maybe it was a bit long. Hafiz, take a page from Bob's book by becoming a YouTuber and wearing blue plaid shirts. Love dates, though I'm still lonely. So that's a play on words because this is a bag of dates. But if you like someone, you might ask if they want to go on a date. So that was in the lesson that I did with words with two meanings. Let me get another question on the screen. And I'll keep answering questions from the chat for a bit if you still have them. Where are we? Questions. Arun, how to improve listening skills for telephone conversations as a medical office assistant. So as you learn a language, there's specific vocabulary for specific things. Learning the vocabulary to be a medical office assistant, it's very unique vocabulary. So you might have to find a book that specializes in teaching that vocabulary. But also I would say, just find someone to practice with. Like if there's another person trying to learn English for this, practice with each other, and then watch a lot of YouTube videos about illness, sickness, office vocabulary, and those kinds of things. But yeah, that's pretty unique. You'll have to learn a lot of medical jargon, we would say. Jargon is another word for vocabulary, and it means words specific to an area. There's a lot of jargon if you talk about rocket science. There's a lot of jargon if you talk about football or hockey. So let's see here. In the chat, Ismail, just one more question. The hat with a wide brim you sometimes wear on the farm, what do you usually call it so it's not confused with other hats? We call it a Tilly hat because it's made, not all of these are made by Tilly, but this hat in particular, I don't know if it'll focus. It's a little mushed right now, isn't it? This hat in particular is made by Tilly. So some people will call this a Tilly hat, even if they buy one that's not made by Tilly. The bonus with a Tilly hat is you can become Australian looking. I always feel like this makes me look a little Australian. Or do I do this? Is this the Australian look? Yeah, that makes me look a little more Australian. But I call it a Tilly hat. It's kind of stuck on my head there. We often sometimes just call it a wide-brimmed hat. That would be the best thing to call it, I think. Wide-brimmed hat, yes. Freddie, when I was a kid, I was sick after having eaten dates. Since then, I can't stand them anymore. That is something that happens. I had my wisdom teeth taken out 20 years ago, and I got sick, and I won't eat cup of soup anymore. Cup of soup is like an instant type of soup that you make in a small cup. Now, the sun was out, and then I clicked it, and then it's gone. But you can see Jen putting some things in the gator. Don't forget to smash the like button, folks, from Mo. Thank you. And Mr. Bob, don't forget to plug yesterday's lesson. Yesterday, we did a lesson. It looked like this. Words and phrases with the word kick in it. There will be a shorter version that comes out shortly in about 12 hours, maybe a little more. And it's always a good idea to watch either the original or the short version. Both are good for your learning. Know that. I noticed that I had asked a similar question as Mr. Emelianenko did, Bob, so I deleted it. I understand. Mode says, just a friendly reminder. Ismail, in that case, does it ever get confused with other hats? It could. Suits you. Crocodile Dundee over there. Nice hat from Tolik. No, that says, but if you want to know, I asked, what are your plans for today or tomorrow besides going shopping? Anything special on your to-do list, or are you just enjoying some free time? Mostly this weekend, I have to figure out, I don't have to work this weekend, but I have to kind of make a list of when I'm doing what next week. Last week was pretty easy because I didn't have to work Monday. Yesterday was a slower paced day at work. But at least later today or tomorrow, I have to just make a list of, okay, on Monday, I have to do this. And then I have to go to work. On Tuesday, I have to do this. I kind of have to schedule it out. Know that with that hat, you almost look like Robert Muldoon from Jurassic Park. Yeah, hopefully there's no dinosaurs around here. Okay, let me turn off members only chat, have a sip of water, and we will get back to the lesson. I do want to give a shout out to members though. Thank you so much for being members. You guys help support this channel. You help me do the things I do. You help me buy cameras and lights. And what is the most recent thing? Oh yeah, I'm going to be getting a new computer for editing. I think this computer is 7 years old. I'm not begging for money. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying thank you for helping out. I do really, really appreciate it. Let's see here. Questions. Nope, I didn't put the next one on the screen. From Han. It's nice to see you. Hello, Bob. It's nice to see you. Do you have a communication English class for foreign students? Have a great weekend. I did that once 2 years ago, and I just don't have time for it. So at this point, no. Okay. That is my response. But maybe someday when I teach less, I will do that. But I will say this, if you are a member, there is a live lesson every Wednesday morning and Wednesday night for members where we review the Tuesday lesson. And in the chat, you can ask me any questions you want. So information about membership is below if you click the subscribe plus button or the join button. No, that says, I hope you don't encounter any raptors, even if you live near Toronto, Bob. Yes, so the Toronto basketball team is called the Toronto Raptors, and they have a dinosaur on their shirt. Hafia says, members get extra live lessons. Like, wow, become members, folks. Join us. Oh, that reminds me. I'm in the wrong screen here. I should give away a free membership. Let me do that for a sec. Let me make sure my camera is going. If you are in the chat right now, you might get a free membership because I am giving one away as we speak. Click, click, click. I don't know if you guys actually hear and see the same thing. There we go. It popped up. It says I sent one gift membership and it doesn't say who got it. Oh, there it goes. So Nyun got a gift membership. So you have a 30-day free membership. If you go to the community tab or post tab, you'll see all of the members' posts. If you're interested, have a look there and enjoy it. So, okay. Next question. Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob the champion. It's the end of the third quarter of 2025. Is this a common usage there? Sometimes I see sentences like the game will be released. We usually say in the fourth quarter of 2025. We do break the year into 4 parts called quarters. We usually use this when we're talking about businesses and when we're talking about when something will be on sale. So you might hear sentences like this. Royal Bank of Canada stock rose in the third quarter. Or the Ford Motor Company didn't make a profit in the second quarter. So that means during the month 4, 5, and 6. We also say things like this. The new Ford pickup truck comes out in the second quarter of 2026. Basically the third or the fourth, fifth, and sixth month. So yes, you will hear that. You will see that as a description of time. From Judith, hi Bob. I think I learned if I had known, I would have. Would is improper after if. Do I remember well? Have a great weekend. Yes. You would say, if I had known that sugar caused weight gain, I would not have eaten sugar. Yes, you would say that. And again, informally, you could say, if I would have known, instead of if I had known as well. From Unsel, what's your favorite app or tool that you use daily other than social media? I use my timer a lot on my phone. I use my banking app a lot on my phone, especially when in the summer when all my kids are home. I'm not sure if you know this, but children are very expensive. And so your bank account tends to go down more than it goes up in the summer. So I would say that my banking app, especially in the summer when all my kids are home, I use that one a lot. Edgar, what do little fixer, what do people mean when they conclude a saying with the word though? I've read it frequently on the internet. Thanks in advance, Bob. You have to be careful though when people do that. So you see how I added though in there? It means you're basically just emphasizing it. If I just said, you don't want to eat too much sugar though, because it's going to cause weight gain. Notice I'm a little bit anti-sugar today. It's kind of like you're punctuating and emphasizing what you're saying. I could say to students, we're going on a field trip tomorrow. It's important though that you wear good shoes. So it's important though. So I'm kind of saying, hey, listen to this. I'm emphasizing it. Oh, do we have a spammer? Let me give a timeout. Let's see. Put user in timeout. 5 minutes. Confirm. There we go. Thanks, Mode, for highlighting that. I'm sure the warning you gave worked, but as a teacher, sometimes it's fun. Whoa, that is a lot of spamming. Okay, I should have caught that earlier. There we go. I should at some point automate that a bit more. Okay, next question from Freddie. Bob, in French, when I say non or no, and the other person says si in order to explain that I'm wrong, how can I translate this? Yes, for sure, or no, you're wrong. Okay, so in that situation, if I say no, and then it might be like yes, but. So if I say, I'm trying to think of an example. The Blue Jays are the best team in baseball. My colleague might say, yeah, but they don't have very good pitchers towards the end of the game. So I think yes, but, or yeah, but informally would be the correct thing. Because yes, for sure means agreement, but yes, but means disagreement. Okay. So I would say that's probably your better way of doing it. From Compelling Fox. In my dictionary, compelling means irresistible. Very beautiful. What does this sentence mean? The evidence is less than compelling, less than convincing. So if the evidence is compelling, it's very convincing. It seems true. You believe it. If the evidence is less than compelling, you have doubts. You don't believe the evidence. This is probably from like a court case or a TV crime drama or something like that. So compelling, yes. She looked very compelling would mean beautiful. The evidence was compelling would mean convincing or truthful. That would be the two. Unsel, what is a misconception people often have about you because of your online persona? I think that I'm very positive and happy all the time. And I usually respond by saying, I am a normal human being. When you see me in my videos and when you see me live, or even when my students see me teaching at school in real life, I am genuinely happy in that time. But like a normal human being, I am not positive and happy 24 hours a day. When I meet people in real life, though, I'm genuinely positive and happy. But yeah, I think the feeling that, Bob's always happy, Bob has his life together and those kinds of things, I would argue I am just another normal human being. I get sick. I get tired. I get cranky. Sometimes I don't sleep very well. Sometimes I get in arguments with people. I am not the happy-go-lucky person you always see in the videos. And I think that's true of any YouTuber. You always see the best side of someone online, but please recognize that we're all just people. And that's how we function. Let me see here. I'm just checking the chat again. A few questions popping up there. I'll leave them for the end if I have time. I'm going to honor the queue first. From Alex, hey, how's it going, Mr. Bob? Good. I wanted to ask what the phrase with my whole or entire chest means and how to use it pragmatically. Thank you so much. So I don't use that phrase. You might say with my, I felt joy with my whole being, which means like your whole body, your whole mind, your whole consciousness. But with my whole, I don't know, maybe that's a bit British. Let me see. Meaning of with chest. Yeah, we don't use that here, but it's definitely a phrase. It signifies a full commitment or statement to say something with your whole chest. Yeah. It's not a Canadian saying. I don't think it's an American saying. I bet you it's British. That would be my guess. So I got to learn something new today as well. Howdy, Mr. Bobby. My question is, how could I improve my English more? I'm also at B2 level now. What should I do? And how's your French now? So that's tricky. To get from B2 to C1 is a very difficult thing to do if you aren't living in an English-speaking country. It can be done, but it does require quite a bit of work and self-correction. So I didn't reply yet, but Know That left a comment yesterday explaining how AI can be a good tool to improve your writing. where you discipline yourself to write something without AI, then you make corrections, then you have AI help you with corrections, then you ask AI, sorry, no, that I'm stealing your whole plan. You ask AI to convert your B1, B2 writing into C1 or C2 writing, and then you memorize that or study that. So by the way, know that that is a fabulous use of AI. I'm not sure all of you caught that, but because AI is a very easy tool to use for reading and writing, you can very much use it to improve your writing and to move to the C1 level. I would also say you need to find a native speaker or a very competent English tutor to help you with that. With my whole heart would be another one. Yes, that would be a good one. Mode for the with my entire chest, with my whole heart. Let me see here. From Wilma, hi, Teacher Bob. I'm going to have a stopover in Montreal and in Toronto. I'd love your suggestion on one traditional savory dish and one sweet dish from each city. Thanks. So if you're in Montreal, there's two things I can think of. Either a Montreal bagel. So Montreal makes very good bagels if you're someone who eats bagels. And we have another thing. Trying to think. Like Montreal smoked meat if you're not vegan or vegetarian. The other thing I would suggest is that you have poutine, which is French fries with gravy and cheese curds. So not sure if you're gluten-free or vegan or vegetarian. Not all of these options will work for you, but those would be my suggestions. So Montreal to, it's usually eaten on rye bread. I haven't had it for a while. It has a unique taste, but it's pretty yummy, actually. Oh, did the internet stop working? That's not good. Oh, no. Oh. I think it's working again. Now it stopped working again. Yeah, that's strange. I'm getting a few dropped frames. I think it's kind of going in and out. So sorry about that, but hopefully we can get through this. Okay, let me get to the last remaining questions. From Mosharaf, I listen to a lot of conversation, but I can't speak very well. I think you need to get to a point where you are participating in conversations, where you are actually talking and speaking. I think it is okay now, Freddie. Freddie says, Bob, wow, it was freezing, but it's okay now. My screen says that I was getting a little bit of a disconnect. So let me get through these last questions and we'll wrap this up. Cal, what is your intro music of the video describing a scary place? Have a good day. I'm not sure. I would have to check. It's probably the old one that I got from Epidemic Sound because I have a membership there. Mikhailo, hi. There is no questions. Happy to see you and boost my English with you. Have a great weekend. You too. Thanks for stopping in. Hite says Bob is cooler with the hat. Yes. For those of you that don't know, I was wearing my Tilly hat for a little bit. I can't always remember which is the back. This is the back. It does make, when you put a hat on, it does make you look a bit different, doesn't it? I don't know. I can't adjust it right because the screen doesn't work as a mirror. So Hite says it was freezing, but it is okay. Okay, good. From Kuhn, watching your videos has helped me recognize the difference between a good and a bad English class. You've become my benchmark for quality English instruction. Well, thank you for that. Teaching a language, for me, the way I do it is a result of years of experience. So there are probably some things I do without even thinking that maybe help me do a better job. But I'm sure my theory is that there's no really bad teachers. There's just how much you can tolerate. That's my theory. Hasham, the best book according to you for learning advanced English. I don't think books are the right place to learn advanced English. I think the best way to learn advanced English would be having conversations with people and telling them the area of study that you want to improve your English in. Here's what I would say. Let's say you are an engineer and you're learning English and you want to move to another country, an English-speaking country, and work as an engineer, you should hire a tutor who will help you learn the specific vocabulary and phrases you would need to know to be an engineer. So when you get to the advanced level, it really depends on what you're doing. So as Mikhaila says, audio has problems. Sounds good to me. I think we're good. Okay. From Rosie. Hi, Bob. I'm from Vietnam. We don't pronounce ending sounds in Vietnamese, so I often forget them when speaking English. Can you suggest how to improve it? So there is a theory that you might want to overpronounce the endings when practicing by yourself. So like if you're using a word like forget and you aren't hitting the T, you're saying forget. On your own, read things out loud and overpronounce them. Like, I am going to forget this book. You don't want to do that in real life, but overpronouncing the endings can help you develop the right muscle memory and muscles to make those sounds. So even something like the word sounds, like I just said, like I said sounds, you might want to say, it sounds really good, and overpronounce all of those and then soften it a bit when you have a real conversation. From Gabby. Hello, Teacher Bob. As a part-time teacher, do you have to attend daily at school, or do you have some dedicated days for teaching? I go every day. I work from about 9:30 till 2:32 every day. That's my schedule. So, last question. Oh, did something go wrong again? No. Ruslana, what is different between I was thinking and I thought? The other day, I was thinking I should get an ice cream sandwich. The other day, I thought I should get an ice cream sandwich. They are interchangeable in that sense. But thought to me is a smaller period of time. Like I could say this. Yesterday, I thought I should buy a new car, and then I thought, nah. Or I could say, for the last month, no, that wouldn't work. That would be, I have been thinking. For some reason, I was thinking in my mind, it seems like a longer period of time. Like yesterday, I was thinking about exercise. It seems like I was thinking about it all day. And if I said yesterday, I thought, it seems like a smaller period of time. Anyways, who knows? Maybe I'm not making any sense. Let me go to the outdoor screen, have a sip of water, browse the chat, and then wrap this up. Natalia says, Bob, you should release a lesson, Bob in the Hat. It will be a hit. Hafia's, wow, Bob sounds like he's angry when he's enunciating each word. Haha. Yeah, and I sound like a robot a little bit. But again, overpronouncing can be helpful. It's like, in my mind, it's like strength training. Like you lift heavy weights so that you can regularly lift lighter weights and not hurt yourself. Anyways, let me get to the full display. Thanks for watching, everybody. It has definitely gotten a little bit more windy outside, and I am happy I'm not out there. I think it could have rained, and that would not have been a good thing. Anyways, thanks for watching. A few things before you go. The lesson from yesterday is viewable now, but there's also a shorter version coming out in just a day, in about less than 20 hours, once I get it edited. Also, please consider becoming a member if you click the subscribe plus or join button below. You do get a few extra things, quite a few extra things. Also, if you were using the app and didn't realize it, but I didn't realize it, but it was broken. It is fixed and working again. It's at vocab.bobthecanadian.com. And then as well, I'll see you Tuesday with a new lesson and next Friday with a new live lesson. It's been fun hanging out. I'll see some of you at the members only lessons on Wednesdays. Those are fun as well. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye. I'm just going to go to the chat now. So have a good day, all of you, says Tolek. Nice. No, that says, thanks for the great Q&A lesson, Bob. As always, I really appreciated the opportunity to spend some extra time with you. Have a marvelous Saturday. You too. Alex says, hey, everyone, greetings. I'm new here and hope you're all doing great. Yeah. Welcome, Alex. But sorry, the live stream's almost over. Unsel says, thank you so much for your wonderful answers and for this amazing live lesson. It was incredibly helpful and fun. Have a great weekend. You're awesome as always. And then I'm just going to say bye to everybody. So bye, everybody. Have a good day. It was fun hanging out with you. What was I going to click?
Bob by his barn with a camera in hand, teaching the world English from his quiet farmland. The birds chirp along, the morning's bright, lessons flow like the river's light. Oh, Bob the Canadian, steady and true, teaching English words and phrases just for you. He says, don't be shy, give it a try. English unfolds neath the Canadian sky. Paint is fading on the red barn door. He teaches words and verbs in the cold and morn. Oscar and Walter, his faithful friends, from greetings to grammar, the lessons don't end. In a world so wide, he makes it small. Through simple words, he reaches us all. Oh, Bob the Canadian, steady and true, teaching words and phrases just for you. He says, don't be shy, give it a try. English unfolds neath the Canadian sky. Pastures green where the blue jays fly, with a big smile he catches your eye. He says, mistakes are fine, they help you grow. The journey's the lesson, that much I know.